Need link building or content? Go to fatjoe.com. On-demand marketing services for agencies and teams. Fat Joe.
What the clusterfuck? Also known as how to convince Google you're an expert and plan your content that little bit faster. Now, mandatory awkward introduction. I know Claire's already done a little bit of this. I'm Alice, this is me, that's me, in case you can't see the obnoxiously blue hair from the back of the room. And despite what my bio says in the Brighton SEO app, I am not a Google attention seeker, I'm a freelance SEO content writer. But let's have a talk about content, shall we? Vapid content, you see, is like small talk. It's one of those things where it's unfortunately become the societal norm. Does anyone enjoy small talk? No. Does anyone learn anything from small talk? No. And yet somehow it's everywhere. My slides aren't moving. Topic clusters, I'm just going to carry on talking. Topic clusters, unlike vapid content, are the DMC equivalent of content. This is really awkward. There we go. Hooray! So, topic clusters are the content equivalent of a DMC. Now, for anyone who doesn't know, a DMC is a deep and meaningful conversation. It's the sort of thing that, albeit, you might have at the end of a bit of a messy night out, but you sit and you have an in-depth conversation with someone. There is substance. You learn something. You learn something about the other person, and you might learn something about yourself. And that is what we want from high-quality content. But we need to talk about the elephant in the room. I'm, of course, talking about the August 2022 Google Helpful Content Update. But Alice, what the fuck is helpful content anyway? Shouldn't all content be helpful? And yes, in an ideal world, that would be the case. But if that was the case, Google wouldn't be putting out helpful content updates now, would they? Helpful content really boils down to 4 things. You see, helpful content is purposeful. It is informative. It is specialized. And it's specific. Totally just killed the butt of a joke there. Helpful content is ideally a piece of piss. Welcome to the wonderful world of topic clusters. I keep skipping through my slides. So this is the 8-step process that I told you about in my bio. Now, try not to panic too much about taking photos of this. I will be going through all of them individually. But this is 8 steps on how to unfuck your topic cluster, and ideally, how to do it without burning out. Simple enough, right? But why do we do this? Why does there need to be a specific process? Because you do not want this to be you. I have been there. As someone who worked in an agency, as someone who has been a one-person marketing team, as someone who has been the only content person in a very small marketing team, if you don't plan these things efficiently, you will burn out, and burnout is not your friend. So, step 1, choose your topic wisely. Now, there's a few reasons for this. The first reason being this is your future. If you are going to be going through a topic cluster and you want to cover anything in significant detail, you are going to be knee-deep in research on that topic for anything from a month to 6 months. Now, also, you need to be choosing wisely according to research. Chances are, if you're here, you either saw the talk title and thought it was funny and thought, why the fuck not? Or you come from a company with a small marketing department or no marketing department at all, and you're still kind of finding your feet and figuring out where to go. Now, if that's the case, you might not be lucky enough to have budget for keyword research. So I wanted to highlight some free keyword research tools for you. Now, we have Ahrefs. Everyone here knows Ahrefs. Everyone here is going to know SEMrush. Answer the Public. Answer the Public is an amazing tool. You type in your keywords, and then it gives you just like a shit ton of questions, so many questions that people are asking relating to your keyword. I personally use it a lot. when it comes to planning things like the subheadings in my content. I also want to give a quick little shout out to Google's lovely People Also Ask. It's a wonderful tool. It's right there. It's right under your nose. It's a beautiful little thing that I think is horrendously underappreciated. And it can give you so many ideas on how to plan your content and how to plan your lead magnets. Now, there are also paid keyword research tools. I'm not going to go through all of this now because, frankly, I don't have time. But here are some nice examples for you. My personal favorite is Moz, because on their website, they have an hour-long, I think it is, step-by-step guide on exactly how to do keyword research. And yes, that is how I taught myself to do it about 3 or 4 years ago. But you also need to be taking note. This is really important because you should be sitting in on sales meetings. You should be sitting in on demos. You need to be taking note of the words and the language that your customers are using. How can you possibly hope to help people if you don't know what it is that they actually need? So, while we're talking about things that people actually need, let's have a quick chat about lead magnets. I have a two-step approach to lead magnets. You have two kind of key kinds of lead magnets. You have a small commitment lead magnet. This is the sort of thing, it's like a first date. It's something that it doesn't require a huge amount of commitment from you, and it doesn't require a huge amount of time from your audience either. So these are things like checklists, or templates, or infographics, stuff that you can gate, you don't have to, and basically just immediately gives people something that they can use. Then you have the bigger commitment lead magnets. Now, I'm not suggesting you propose to your clients, but what I am suggesting is that you create things like ebooks, webinars, research reports, white papers, the sort of thing that you need to invest your heart and your soul and your brain and your mind and your research into, and the things that are going to take your potential customers a little bit longer to read, but they'll get so much more value out of it. But critically, when it comes to doing things efficiently, you need to be creating your lead magnets first. Now, once we have the lead magnets established and we know what our topic is, it's time to look at supporting content. Now, supporting content can be a little bit overwhelming. You have all of the options. You can be looking at things like this, anything from short-form video, long-form video, podcasts, infographics, LinkedIn, blogs, press releases. There is just so much that you can do. But if you are working with limited resources, you're in a small company, or you've got a small marketing team, that is fine. You do not have to put pressure on yourself to do everything. You don't have to be everywhere. Just do what you can manage as a team. Now, the reason I said we have to create our assets, our high commitment lead magnets first, is because you can, for example, take an ebook and you can create 4 blogs out of it. And that straight away gives you an extra 4 pieces of content with little to no extra effort. And from your blogs, you can potentially do all of this. And that gives you an awful lot of options and an awful lot of leverage out of what was originally one project. So now that we've decided what our supporting content is going to look like, it's time to optimize. It's the kind of ideal scenario at Brighton SEO, right? But what does optimizing your content actually look like? Now, I want to chat again about the Google Helpful Content update for a second. When this update came out, there was a bit of a, writers rejoice, keywords don't matter anymore. Fuck you, Google, I'm just going to write amazing content. And like, ideally, you want to be writing great content anyway, let's be honest, guys. But something that I just really want to establish here is that writing people-first content, producing content that is written by people for people, it doesn't mean keywords don't matter. It means people first, keywords second, not people only. And I do not have time, I'm halfway through my time already, if you'll believe it or not, to go through all of this. So I have created a checklist for you that you can download at the end of my talk that goes through all of the on-page optimization stuff. Skipped ahead again. So, Quality research, this is step 5. How do you get quality research for just about any topic that you really, really want to go to town with? You need to read a lot. And this isn't do a surface level Google search and see what turns up and go, oh, that ranks, so that must be good. That doesn't necessarily mean that that's good research. You need to be identifying your thought leaders. So this can be people on LinkedIn, for example. Everyone loves a LinkedIn influencer, am I right? So it can be LinkedIn influencers, or you can look for specific publications within your industry that have a high domain authority and are well respected. For example, I often work in the HR technology and L&D kind of businesses. That's who a lot of my clients are. They're in that industry. So for me, 2 of my first ports of call with research is Harvard Business Review and McKinsey & Co. Because they are very well respected publications in the people, management and workplace industries. So you need to identify who those people are, and they can be a great first port of call for your research process. But now, don't know why this keeps happening, now that we have established where your research is going and the pieces that you are going to be linking to, we need to look at how you are going to link to them. And my friends, this is not how you want to do it. Okay, click here. What does it tell you? Friends, what does that tell you? What does it tell Google? What does it tell your readers who are using a screen reader to read your content? Nothing. It tells them nothing. We do not use it. This is garbage anchor text. Now, I personally have 2 recommendations for better use of anchor text in your content. The first one follows this very simple formula. Date, type of content, source material. So 2021 article from Harvard Business Review. It makes it extremely clear to your users where the next step of their journey is. It makes it very clear to Google where you are linking to. And frankly, it just makes you look like you've got your shit together. And that's what you really want. When people are reading your content and you want them to have faith in you, you need to at least look like you have your shit together. The other option is product pages. Now for me, I am an SEO content writer. So SEO content writing is the #1 services page on my website. So whenever I write about topic clusters or how best to format your blog for user engagement, things like that, I will link to my SEO content writing page right near the top of the blog. Because it's good for Google, it's good for your users, and it's just good practice. I have also created another checklist for you because I'm fast running out of time that you can download at the end of the talk. Now we need to talk about cornerstone content. So, Alice, what the fuck is cornerstone content? I hear none of you ask, but I'm going to tell you anyway. So, cornerstone content, think of it like this. It's like a big fuck-off blog. You want to be following all of the best practices for on-page optimization, for your linking strategy, all of that stuff, but make it significantly bigger. 3,000 to 5,000 words is the usual, and you guessed it, I've made you another checklist, and this one has all of the things that you need to create a winning piece of cornerstone content, and yes, I will provide you a link to download that at the end of the talk. So, let's talk about the order of your content creation. You might remember earlier I said that you need to be creating your lead magnets first. Lead magnets first, then your blogs, then all of the stuff that your blogs turn into and get dispersed all over the internet. You need to be creating your cornerstone content last. You need to be thinking about your user journey. So, in this particular example, if your cornerstone content is well optimized and it is doing all the things that you need it to do, that is going to be where people land on your website when they are searching for your targeted keywords. They are going to land there, and from there, you need to link out to everything else. And how can you possibly link out to everything else if it doesn't exist yet? So, lead magnets first, then your blogs, then all of the other fun stuff, and then use your cornerstone content to pull everything together. But why bother, right? If all you're doing with a cornerstone page is just pulling all of the threads together and you've already made all of the other content, why would you bother doing it? It seems like a lot of effort, right? And yeah, it is a lot of effort, but there's a good reason that people are doing it. Cornerstone content is helpful. Cornerstone content is informative. Cornerstone content, critically, answers queries. And cornerstone content provides you the in-depth coverage that Google is looking for. Cornerstone content is the pinnacle of what the Helpful Content Update is asking us as writers, as businesses, to produce. But not everything deserves to be cornerstone content. You don't want to be ranking for low-value keywords. The way that I like to see it is you want to be ranking with your cornerstone content for two types of things. The sort of search that is led by, help, why does this keep happening to me? And the type of search that is led by, I know why this is happening to me, now I just need to find a solution. So now we've created all of our content. How do we distribute it? Also known as reduce, reuse, repurpose, which is essentially my go-to slogan for all of my content creation efforts. Now, you might remember this from earlier. We talked about creating your ebooks or your other types of assets, distilling that into blogs, and then from the blogs, creating all of the things. I want to ask you a quick question. So would you rather pour your heart and your soul and your mind and your brain and your research and your experts into an amazing ebook, white paper, webinar, any of those things that will be, you'll be seen as such an authority on the subject? It's all of the things that you could have dreamed of. Would you rather do that and create, obviously, a landing page and then, put out a couple of posts on LinkedIn and Twitter, maybe a press release if you feel like it or if you feel like you've got time? Or would you rather create that big piece of content, split it out into smaller pieces of content, and then do this? What I'm really asking you guys is, would you rather put in basically the same amount of effort to create 4 pieces of content, or would you rather have the potential to create 60 to 70 pieces of content on one topic? Seems like a bit of a no-brainer to me. And why do we do this? Because burnout is not your friend. Burnout is not your friend. We need to be efficient in how we are creating content, because optimal productivity is not a reality for a lot of us a lot of the time. And I want you to learn from my mistakes. Burnout is not your friend. We need to be really realistic, and we need to be setting expectations about how much content one person can reasonably produce. So, very quick guidelines for you here. From my personal experience, a one-person marketing team, and this is an unfortunate reality for too many small businesses, a one-person marketing team, at most, can be expected to create 2 of these campaigns a year. So that is from initial research through to the ebook, then the supporting content and the cornerstone content. That is one campaign. So, one-man marketing team, 2 campaigns per year. A small marketing team that has 1 dedicated content person, 3 campaigns a year. It's not going to be 4 campaigns a year because shit happens. People get pulled off of projects, especially if you're the only content person. You're going to have a lot of work to do. Now, per full-time content person in a larger team, you are reasonably looking at 4 campaigns a year. That's 1 per quarter, but only if that person isn't dragged off from, requests from the CEO. Oh, can you just? Or the sales team, oh, can you just do this? It's 4 campaigns per year, 1 per quarter, at a reasonable pace if they're not pulled off onto other activities. But these are more like guidelines than actual rules. Everyone's capacity is different. I completely respect that. It's just something that I want you to consider, particularly if you are a small business owner, if you are running a small marketing team, or if you are flying solo, because I know how hard it is. Remember the checklist I mentioned? If you scan that QR code, you will be led to a landing page where you can download all 3 of those checklists, a PDF copy of my slides with some bonus content, try not to get too excited. Yeah, so that's that. In about 10 seconds, this is going to disappear off the screen. I will also be posting it on Twitter. My handle is Alice_Rowan, so I will see you there, and thank you very much.
Need link building or content? Go to fatjoe.com. On-demand marketing services for agencies and teams. Fat Joe.